Hello Daily Drafters, and welcome to a unique video here on the channel designed to get you ready for your Brothers War pre-release events this weekend. If you're a seasoned veteran here on the channel, you've probably heard a lot of this information before, but as the channel grows and we reach more and more people, I think returning to this style of video at the start of each format in preparation for pre-release weekend is always a great idea. Not to mention, this video will also contain information specific to the Brothers War pre-release, so make sure you stick around to be as informed as you possibly can heading into this weekend. Whether you're a longtime player who hasn't been to a pre-release in a while due to various COVID restrictions or otherwise, or if you're a brand new player who's never been to a pre-release before, today's video can help you feel comfortable and have a great time at your pre-release event. If you find the information in today's video helpful, I'd love it if you were able to support the channel in turn by subscribing. I appreciate each and every one of you here today and look forward to helping you crush your pre-release. Now, some of you might be asking yourself, what exactly is a pre-release? Well, each year there are roughly 4 main set releases of Magic the Gathering products, and most local game stores run what's called a pre-release for each of these main set releases. Essentially, you battle it out against your friends and strangers using several booster packs of the brand new cards for the upcoming set that has yet to be released, hence the name pre-release. If this sounds interesting to you, let's take a step-by-step look at exactly how these events are run. Step 1. Locate your local game store. In order to participate in a pre-release event, you'll need to locate one. If you do not already have a local game store that you frequent, I've included a link in the description to a website that will help you find a game store running a pre-release event near you. Now that you've found where you'll be participating, it's time to get registered. Usually stores will run events all weekend, maybe one on Friday, 2 on Saturday, and 1 on Sunday. Check with your LGS to see when the events are happening and which ones you would like to attend. Be sure to note that sometimes these events fill up fast, so you may need to pre-register to ensure you have a spot. It just depends on your store. Other times, you can just walk in and register on the spot. Be sure to find out what is the best for your situation. Now that you're registered, it's time for the fun part. When it's time to start the event, you will get handed a pre-release pack like the ones on your screen now. For this set, there is an Urza pack and a Mishra pack, but from what I understand, the outside is completely cosmetic and the contents on the inside are identically random no matter which pack you get handed to you. So don't freak out if you're Team Urza and your event organizer hands you a Mishra pack. They're the exact same. Now that you've got your pack, when the event begins, you'll be instructed to open your pack and begin your deck build. It varies from store to store, but usually you will have about 50 minutes or so to build your deck and get ready for your matches. Let's take a look at what you'll find when you open your pack. Inside, you're going to find one traditional foil rare or mythic rare from the Brothers War with a year stamp, and here's an example of what that card might look like using a rare from the last set, Dominaria United. You will get 6 Brothers War draft boosters, 1 20-sided spin down die, 1 reusable deck box with a divider, and usually you'll get 1 MTG Arena code card. Well, we now have everything we need to begin our deck build. If you'd like to see an example of a Brothers War sealed deck build, stick around until the next segment where I will build an entire sealed deck on screen for you to follow along with. After you've built your deck, you will then be assigned an opponent by the event coordinator and you will play out your first match. Different stores will give you different amount of matches for the event, but usually it's a minimum of 3. Sometimes you might get lucky and be able to play 4 or more, it just depends. After you've finished your matches, you may qualify for some prizes, so be sure to check with the event coordinator to cash in your winnings. Now, the hardest part about the whole event is how to build your deck. But, great news, I will now go ahead and go through an entire deck build to give you an idea of what you want to be looking for in your pool of cards and how to maximize your chance of having a competitive deck for the event. Alright, so I'm here and I've opened my 6 packs of the Brothers War. Unfortunately, this program does not allow me to have that foil stamped rare or mythic rare, so I'm only going to end up with probably 6 rares in this, except for one extra thing that I want to mention to every one of you before we get into this deck build. You'll see some of these cards here, like Self-Assembler and Unwinding Clock and Ivory Tower look a little bit different. Well, Brothers War boosters are a little bit different than other boosters in the fact that there is one slot for what these are called, which are retro artifacts. For those of you that played in Strixhaven, it's very similar to the Mystical Archive, but each booster pack will contain Apparently at least one. It looks like I have 7 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So maybe they can contain 2 if there's a foil or something. I'm not positive, but at least one, guaranteed to be one of these. And they range from completely busted cards like Wormcoil Engine to potentially unplayable ones like Ashnod's Altar here. So that's why I have some extra things in here. And when I go ahead and sort by rarity, which is one of the first things I like to do, usually you'll end up with 7 rares. You'll get 1 in each of your packs, plus your foil stamped rare. Here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, because apparently I got some extra ones with these being rares. You can get a rare in your retro artifact in addition to a regular rare in the pack. So when I build a sealed pool, what I like to do is I usually like to sort by rarity. And I like to see what my most powerful cards are. Usually, so right now I have mythics, rares, uncommons, and commons. Usually your most powerful cards are going to be rares and mythics. So you can sort like this and see which ones you kind of have access to as we do this. So if I do this, I see Teferi. That's the first thing I see. And Teferi is very, very good in this set. You can go ahead and pause and read it here if you really want to. But as far as the rest of these rares, Brotherhood End is okay in certain decks, decent out of the sideboard. Ashnod's Altar is probably not great. It's like a cube combo card. Thran's Spider, I'm actually not super impressed with. I don't think this is a card I really want to include in my deck very often. Kayla's Reconstruction is pretty good, but in a very specific deck. Unwinding Clock, I really don't know. It depends on the amount of artifacts. Perennial Behemoth is like fine, I guess, in a defensive deck. And the Ritualist is also okay. So, I mean, based on our rares and mythics, I really, really would like to see if we can fit Teferi into our deck here at some point. Now, if we take a look at the uncommons, some of the things that stand out to me is the fact that I have double Urza Power Stone Prodigy here. And let's see what else we have. Jalum Tome, double that. Obstinate Baloth. Baloth is another great one. We have a Yoshin Tactician. We also have a Falaji Vanguard. Both of those are pretty good. Keeper of the Cadence for some cute little no-decking things. Disciples of Gix is very good. Double Self-Assembler. Maybe we can do a Self-Assembler thing. We'll have to see here. And then just a whole bunch of commons that I'm not going to necessarily go over every single one of these, but we'll go ahead and sort through what I think. So I think I want to start with trying to see if I can get Teferi into my deck. And if we're doing Teferi, that means we're going to do blue things. So Defabricate is 2 mana to counter an artifact or an enchantment. Maybe that gets in. Double Urza seems pretty good to me. Keeper of the Cadence, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see. There's a triple Urza's Rebuff here, which is 3 mana to counter a spell or tap up to 2 target creatures. It seems like in this deck, if we're going like instants and sorceries and control, we've already got 5 counter spells. We can be a super control deck if we wanted to. Koilos Rock is pretty good. 5 mana, 3/3 flash flyer. ETBs makes a Power Stone. We've got Depth Charge Colossus on the top end here. I'm not going over too many of these cards or explaining what all this is. I've got about 6 or 7 videos that have already been released on the channel over this past week going over all the mechanics and every single card graded individually, card by card, on the channel. So if you're interested in seeing what my thoughts on most of these cards, you can go ahead and check out those videos. What else do we have? Scatter Ray, another counter spell. I mean, we've got a control deck here if we really want it. I don't think this is great in this style of deck. What else do we have? So now we can go back over here and see. So maybe if we can fit in Perennial Behemoth, let's see if we can fit in the green, maybe green blue. Mask of the Jadecrafter is another decent control card. I mean, we play this early, we counter all their spells, and then we just make a bunch of big old creatures. And we got 2 of them. That could be kind of fun. Obstinate Baloth is a great one. What else do we have here? Giant Growth? Probably not in this deck, right? Gaia's Gifts, Honor Guard. Argothian Opportunist. Double Opportunist is great. Anything else? Hoarding Recluse, maybe. So we have 18 cards over here that I'd be pretty happy running in this deck. We could fill in some extra things if we really wanted to, but you don't want to put too much filler because your opponents are probably going to have more playable rares than I do, which means you're going to be facing against those a lot. What about our black? What if we thought about blue-black? So this could be good if we like bin one of these big creatures here. Disfigure is good. Power Stone Fracture could be pretty good if we sacrifice a Power Stone to kill something. Gix's Caress, I think, is probably pretty good in sealed. Triple Trench Stalker. I don't know about that. Overwhelming Reverse is pretty good, though. Double Goring Warplow, I think, is okay, honestly. It's an early roadblock. And that's... Oh, Scrapwork Rager, definitely. And... that's probably all the cards that I'm actively... Oh, and Disciples of Gix, I think. This card's very good. Just depends on what kind of blue or what kind of artifacts you have to make it work as well. Got a couple of unearthed ones here. These could be pretty good to bin with the Disciples. Maybe double self-assembler is good. I don't know if we have any other assembly workers. I mean, I doubt it. Yeah, I don't think we do. So I doubt this is really worth it. Maybe a Jalem Tome. Taking a look at my white now. Double Power Stone Engineer. I don't think we really have the synergies for a Soldier's deck. Or at least the good cards. The good cards are at rare and uncommon for the Soldier's deck. Yeah, so what I'm going to do here is... Now I'm going to swap. So this is my sideboard now. This is my deck here. This would be 28 cards. But I don't really want to be 3 colors. So which is better here? Double Opportunist Baloth versus this black package. I think the black package, I don't know. We also have masks for the blue-green control. I think I like blue-green control a little bit more here. Yeah, I think... Now we have 19 that I think I'd be happy with. What else could we play? We can also sort by curve. So we have basically a couple of like late game cards that we're going to play early and then cash in late. I would like to get another big creature in here if we can. So, I mean, this is not the one you want. Power plant worker is an assembly worker. Maybe Thran Spider's good enough? I'm not exactly sure. I just really don't like how it creates a Power Stone for your opponent as well. I'm not a huge fan of Machine Over Matter or any of these other cards here. So I'm looking at maybe like a Hoarding Recluse to help with against flyers. 3 mana 3/3 is not the end of the world. And then we basically just need one more card. There's a stone retrieval unit, but I don't know how much we care about power stones too much in this deck. What are we thinking for this last card here? Not a huge fan. I mean, Gaia's Gift is a good card, but we don't really have a ton of outstanding creatures here that we're trying to protect. I mean, we have a few. Got double opportunist early, which is fine. Perimeter patrol to protect is fine. I mean, this is probably fine to run a copy of this. So yeah, I think this is kind of like a blue-green control deck, considering we have, oh, I don't know, 3 Urza's rebuffs, a Scatter Ray, and 2 Defabricates, 6 counterspells to kind of just hold down the board early, drop a Baloth, drop a 2/7 that they can't attack through, protect our Teferi, play a Koilos Rock, play a Depth Charge Colossus, get value out of Mask at the Jade Crafters. Seems like it could be a pretty fun deck. So just for time, I mean, usually we have a lot more time than this. If you're building this at your pre-release, I would usually build at least 2 decks just to compare. But for time, I think I'm just going to land here for now. Maybe there's another deck in here that might be better. It's very possible. I mean, maybe something like Black-Red Sacrifice with double Strongbow, but I mean, we don't really have any of the black cards that care about that. We don't really have a blue-white deck, I don't think. So at the end of the day, I think I'm fine with where this would be. And then you just have to go in here and add your lands in, and I have it memorized exactly how to do that on, oh, here they are. Add basic lands. So you add in this, and then you add in as many as you would need on each of them to get up to where you want to go. And that would be the final deck build, and then we'd run this in the gauntlet against all of our friends and enemies at our pre-release. I hope this entire video was helpful to you and helps you build up the courage needed to go participate in a pre-release at your LGS this weekend. If you've never been to one before, I highly recommend it. It's one of the absolute most fun ways to play Magic, and you'll meet tons of different players there. If you do end up going, return back to this video and leave a comment to let me know how it went for you. I'd love to hear back from each of you about your event. Thanks so much for sticking around at the end of this video, and I will see you soon here at Daily Draft.